Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. Today I am so excited to give you guys another video in my favorite series to film, which is my top 12 recommendation series. I have a dozen books today that are underrated thriller and some horror books, but mostly thrillers in this video, and I cannot wait to share them with you. I know I just did a video like this a couple months ago, but I felt like another one was in order. I know y'all love the underrated thriller recs, and I am here to give you them. Now, in all honesty, this video was sparked because something pissed me off, okay? I read a book recently that made me really angry. And I know you're thinking, what's new? This bitch always has something to complain about. This bitch is always getting pissed off by some book. And to that I would say, so true, bestie. I am nothing if not a hater. I'm gonna hate on something. I am not one to just sit there and keep my mouth shut. I have something to say, and if I have something to say, is going to be said. And I kind of have no filter, especially when I talk about books, especially books that make me mad. So y'all will see in an upcoming reading vlog what book it was that made me so mad. But basically the situation was, I believe a thriller author preyed upon a book that should have been a lot more popular than it was and is severely underrated, and rewrote the book and is now making a shit ton of money off of it.
This is all alleged and this is all my opinion. I have no facts. I have no standing. I am just a girl. I am just a 24-year-old teenager. Nobody come for me.
But that situation really made me think, and I was like, I have to recommend some more underrated thrillers, because if this happens, if these books that I'm about to recommend to you are preyed upon, there's gonna be hell to pay. I will go to war. I will fight. Like, I'm literally ready to fight. I'm so mad. Let's get our hater pants on. No, just kidding. Let's actually get our positivity pants on, because I'm about to hype up all these books that deserve a lot more love. Let's get into the top 12 recs. I want to start off with one of my favorite books of all time. So if you watch my channel, you've probably heard me talk about this one before, but I still believe it is criminally underrated. And I think a lot of people know about this book, but I don't think a lot of people are picking it up because of the low ratings. It scared me off for a long time. Honestly, I probably would not have picked this one up if it wasn't sent to me from my wish list, but thank God it was, because it became one of my favorites of all time, and that is The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre. I am not sure why this one has such low ratings and why people basically de-influence other people from reading it, because I think it is so much fun. Now, there is a lot of explicit content in here, not just about gore, but about sex as well, because in this book, we are following our main character, who is a cam girl, and she takes up this profession of camming because she has to do a job where she can lock herself inside her apartment and still make a living for herself. She has to lock herself away because she is a serial killer. She knows that if she lets herself out of her apartment, she will go on a killing spree, and she doesn't want to do that. She has some semblance of a conscience, so she locks herself away and she just cams all day. But when something happens on the internet that sparks her murderous streak, we might see her leave her apartment for the first time in years. This book is so over the top, so fast-paced, so twisty, so campy. It has all the sex, all the gore, all the darkness, and it is just, to me, a cult classic. I don't know, something about this is giving queer-coded. I don't know. It is just everything to me. This is my personality in a book. It's not serious, but for some reason, when I finished the series, it's a 3-book series, I sobbed. That's a little embarrassing, because this series is so unserious, but I love it so much. I think a lot of people give this 1 star because they pick it up expecting like a very serious, intense thriller, and it is heart-pumping, it is fast-paced, but it's so funny at the same time. It talks about real things and has real commentary, but there are just some scenes that are so ridiculous. If you're a fan of the way that Grady Hendrix writing is like kooky and weird, but also has commentary on real things, I think you would love this book. Don't let the low rating scare you. This is one of my faves. Now, if you have been watching my channel for a while and you've heard of that one, you've probably also heard me talk about Jennifer Hillier. And I know quite a few people pick up a number of her books, but I don't hear anyone talk about her debut, which definitely does not read like your typical thriller debut. It is a masterpiece. It is so well done. I have not read anything else like this book, and that is Creep, obviously, by Jennifer Hillier. In this book, we are following a professor at a college, and she has been having an affair with her teaching assistant, her like graduate student, this younger college guy, and she is like kind of a queen. But when her rich ass boyfriend proposes to her, she's like, okay, I gotta cash in. I gotta go all in on this rich man. Let me drop this little grad student. And this little grad student is not very happy about that. He has this big reaction that is really scary to our main character, and simultaneously, we're also following the serial killings that are taking place around this campus. And when this kid has this massive reaction to being dumped, our main character starts to suspect that he may be the campus killer. It has serial killer vibes. It has those juicy domestic thriller vibes as well. It's like the perfect balance of juice and drama, but then intense gore, dark serial killer vibes. The twist at the end caught me by surprise. I did not see that killer reveal coming at all. I love the balance that Jennifer Hillier finds between intrigue and like stuff that keeps you turning pages, like romance and like light smut. The balance between that and the dark grimness of this book, it's like, to me, Jennifer Hillier is for fans of Karen Slaughter that just want to have a little bit more fun. Because she brings the same darkness and the same twist, but in a way that is like just not so serious. It's a little bit more fast-paced, a little bit lighter, and I just love this book. It also has a sequel called Freak. Do not read the synopsis of Freak before you read Creep because it does spoil it. I want to give that disclaimer, but love, love, love Creep. Along that same vein, another one of my favorite authors has a criminally underrated thriller, and that is Miss Lisa Jewell. If you haven't picked up The Third Wife and you love a juicy domestic thriller, you're gonna love this one. My favorite thing about Lisa Jewell is the fucked up family dynamics that she writes. They're just so interesting and convoluted. If you love watching just the weirdest, most twisted family, then this is the one for you. Basically, we're following this guy, and he's on his third wife, but he still keeps these relationships with his two exes, and they all go on like weird, uncomfortable family vacations together, and they have like family dinners. It is so, so weird. It is so, so weird.
It's like Brady Bunch, but make it so uncomfortable.
And drama starts unfolding when the third wife starts getting these ominous letters, and we're trying to figure out who in the family has it out for her. Is it one of the exes? Is it somebody's kid? Is it some neighbor down the block who sees everything that's happening? Everyone in the family has their own secrets and their own motive for sending these letters. And I read this one in a day. It was so juicy, so drama, so fast-paced. I'm obsessed. If you like any of Lisa Jewell's books or any domestic thriller, you will be obsessed. Switching it up and getting into some YA, I have The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Moldavsky. I absolutely love this book. It really caught me by surprise. Y'all know I am not really a YA reader much anymore. And when I do read YA, I usually don't rate it the highest, but this was an easy 5-star for me. And I haven't heard many people talk about it, but the people who do, I don't think I've heard anyone give this less than a 4-star. I think this is pretty widely loved, especially if you are a fan of horror and horror movies, because in this book, we're following a young girl who recently went through a pretty traumatic experience, and she's coping with it by just like binging horror movies. That is exactly what I did as a kid, and she moves to escape this trauma, so she's having to start over, make new friends, all this stuff, and at her new school, she gets involved with this secret society called the Mary Shelley Club. and they're all about horror. It's basically someone from every clique at the high school, and they all have this like secret love for cult horror films. I'm obsessed. I wish I had that at my high school. And to get into the club, she has to do these fear tests where you literally just face your fear. And it's like a horror movie in real life. It is so good. It has so much heart, but it also has a really great thriller plot. I would definitely call this thriller rather than horror, even though it has horror content. And everyone just widely loves this book so much, but not many people have read it, so highly recommend it. Next up, I have a teeny tiny horror novella, and that is The Test by Sylvain Neuvel. This is a horror novella, and it's basically a lot of commentary on a British citizenship test, because that is real life horror. For the people taking it, it feels like life or death, but this truly makes it life or death. Basically, what happens if you were in the driver's seat of choosing whether people get citizenship or not, which is basically choosing to condemn someone to a horrible life in the country that they're trying to escape from, or allowing them freedom to live in the UK. It has so much social commentary. It is so phenomenally written. If you like something like Black Mirror and horror that's a little bit more advanced, you kind of have to think about it a tad bit more, you're gonna love this one. But the kind of intelligence that this book carries does not take away from the fast pacing, the heart pumping horror. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. Easy 5-star, and I don't hear nearly enough people talk about it. What the heck, I will stay on the novella train and talk about a recent read, which is Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott. I haven't talked about this one too much other than the wrap-up that I featured it in, and I feel like everyone needs to read this. It was published a while ago, I think in like 2010 or 2011 or something like that. Let me look. Oh my god, 2008. This book was published in 2008, so no wonder nobody's talking about it, but y'all need to get on it, especially if you like dark thrillers. I think this is pretty even mix of horror and thriller. It's definitely a fast-paced, twisty thriller plot, but it has those dark triggering horror elements as well, so make sure that you're okay going into this before you do. It is a very real feeling account of what it's like to be inside a girl who is kidnapped. We're basically inside her brain the entire time. And she's completely dissociated. She is a living dead girl, as she calls herself. She's been living with this man who kidnapped her and has been torturing her and assaulting her and all of this stuff through her life. And we're following her as she tries to escape. It is so intense, so heart-pumping. I mean, if you are looking for a fast-paced, slump-busting thriller horror book, this is it. It's so short, but it's definitely not an easy read. Again, look up trigger warnings, but if you're a fan of the dark like me, I think you're gonna love it.
Not love it, but you know what I mean.
Next up, I have a great one from my queens, Liv Constantine, a wonderful author duo. You should read all their books, in my opinion, if you like a classic, juicy domestic thriller, but one that definitely doesn't get enough hype is The Stranger in the Mirror. If you like an amnesia trope in your thrillers, you will love this one. This was one of the picks for my Pretty Girl Book Club last year, and I honestly didn't have too high expectations. I'm like, okay, random little thriller, let's get into it. But so many people liked it so much. I was so surprised. There are a couple things in here that could be triggering, so look that up. And a couple people rated it low because of that. So definitely know what you're getting into. But also, I just think it's a really twisty, fun time. If you love an unreliable narrator like myself, you are gonna love this one. It's giving vibes of Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. If you like those classic thrillers, you will love this one. We're following a woman who does not know what is going on. She basically woke up in this life and she is unsure if this is her life. basically the people around her are like, yeah, this is your husband, like y'all are married, yada yada yada. But she starts uncovering clues that lead her to believe that maybe she had another life before this, and the people around her are hiding the truth. She doesn't know her real name. She doesn't have any real tangible facts about herself. We just have the information that is given to her. So the same way that she's trying to put together the pieces of who she is, the reader is along with her. I think that is such a powerful trope in a thriller. It just immediately ingratiates you to the main character, and we are on her journey in her head. We only know as much as she knows. Keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it is so drama. Next up, I have The Return by Rachel Harrison. And oh my gosh, I matched this book. We're so cute together. I was actually thinking about this one the other day. I don't know why. It just like popped in my mind, and I was like, I have to recommend this book again because there's been a lull. Not enough people are talking about it. I believe I gave this one a 4-star. It is a little bit long for what it is. That was the reason that I ended up docking it a star, because it does drag a bit, but this is very just like kooky, off the wall horror, and that is the type of horror that I like. It is very character driven, and we are following a group of women who are just all like these little catty friends. Like, it honestly kind of reminds me of my friend group a little bit, and they all go on this vacation together after one of their friends returns from being missing for 2 years. So the rest of the friend group is like, girl, where have you been?
Bella, where have you been, Loca? Like, what is happening?
And she's very vague on what happened to her. So all along the way, we're trying to figure out, first of all, navigating the friendship dynamics of this group of women, but also we're trying to figure out what's going on with this girl. Where was she for 2 years? How did she come back? And is there something seriously wrong with her? It absolutely pops off with the horror at the end, and there's this kind of like hilarious kooky air about it. Like, kooky is the best word that I can use to describe it, because there's such a fun juxtaposition between like, oh, let's take pictures at this Instagram hotel, and then like vomiting maggots up. I don't know. This is the kind of weird girly horror that I like, and not enough people talk about it. So if this sounds like something that's up your alley of weird and you're on my alley of weird, please pick it up. Next, I gotta talk about a thriller that is perfect for this upcoming spring and summer season. It's also about a vacation, and that is We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz. This was such an easy 5-star for me, and I don't know how the entire world is not talking about this book. It has the perfect vacation summer vibes. I read this one in the pool, and it was like,
oh, yes, give me all the summer.
In this book, we're following 2 best friends who accidentally committed like a casual little manslaughter, oops, on vacation. And one of the friends is like totally fine with it, bounces back, a resilient queen, and the other girl is like super fucked up about it. So at their next yearly vacation, it happens again, where another man dies at the hands of this best friend duo. And the girl who was really disturbed by the last death that they were a part of starts to think, is this a pattern? Is my best friend low-key a murderer? And we're diving into this girly friendship, again, diving into toxic female friendship dynamics and obsession and murder. It's kind of a good for her book. If any of those vibes sound good for you, you have to pick this up. And it's on Book of the Month, so if you have a Book of the Month subscription, you can get this as an add-on for $9.99. My Book of the Month link is always down below. Next up, I have another horror recommendation. This is the last horror rec for this video, but I gotta throw a few in there for my horror girls. And if you are a carnival horror lover, this is the top of the top, the best of the best of the best. Are you ready for it? The Cotton Candy Massacre by Christopher Robertson. I absolutely love this book. If you are a slasher queen like myself, you're gonna love it. It is all about this carnival where this massacre took place and it completely got shut down. But now, years later, it is back with a vengeance. And on opening day, all of these nefarious spirits come crawling back from the massacre, and it's happening again. We're following this menagerie of quirky characters as they either slash or get slashed. It has a final girl main character that I am absolutely obsessed with. She is me, I am her. It is super gory, so much fun. That carnival summer energy is in there. You can just like smell the popcorn and see the ribbons of cotton candy as you're reading. Guys, this is just fun, fun, fun. If you like books like Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier or Hyde by Kirsten White, or you didn't like Hyde by Kirsten White and you want something a little bit better, you've got to pick up The Cotton Candy Massacre. It is so good. So good. Super, super gory. So if you don't like gore, this maybe isn't for you, but it is definitely for me. Also, I just realized that I pulled 2 Lisa Jewell books for this video, but I'm not even mad about it because she is my underrated queen. I think Lisa Jewell deserves so much more hype. I'm obsessed with her. And one of her releases that didn't get nearly as much talk as some of her other books, like Then She Was Gone and I Found You, was The Night She Disappeared. Now, this was, in the year that it came out, my top 3, my 3rd favorite book of the entire year. I don't know why people, when they taste test Lisa Jewell, are always picking up Then She Was Gone, because to me, that is by far not her best book. This one is up there, though. It is a classic girl gone missing story. We are following the disappearance of this teen mom, and she's not what you might stereotypically think of as a teen mom, which is kind of like a negative connotation. She's not irresponsible or anything like that. She's really a hard worker and cares so much about her kid and has the full support of her grandmother. So when she disappears at this party, it's really, really out of character for her, and her grandma is going around telling everyone, like, this is not anything like my granddaughter. She's such a responsible mom, yada, da, 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 da. But of course, no one believes her because they have these preconceived notions about a teen mom. And a year later, after the case has gone cold, we're following this duo of writers, I believe. They're like a couple, and either one of them or both of them are writers. And they start uncovering clues that might have something to do with the case when they move to this little town where she disappeared from. There are so many twists. It is so juicy, so drama, but at the same time, really gritty, really real. It has some wonderful commentary and queer representation, which we love to see. It was just everything to me. And I recently lent this book to my best friend, who is not really a thriller reader. She mostly reads romance, and she loved this one. She was sucked in from the first page. And I know when I recommend a thriller to my romance reader friends and they like it, it's a banger. So I don't know why more people are not talking about this, but you gotta go pick it up. And finally, the last book that I have to recommend in this video is The Lying Club by Annie Ward. If you are a domestic thriller queen, you gotta read this one. Also, if it's still kind of snowy where you live, this is the perfect transitional book from winter to spring, because there are some scenes with like frozen roads, but it takes place in that like transitional time. If you're a seasonal reader like myself, essential. Basically, we're following all this rich people drama, which y'all know I love, that takes place at this school. And all we know is 2 bodies are rolled out the school one morning. Last night, the night before, something went down at the school. 2 people died. We don't know who they are. We don't know who killed them. We don't know why. And we're trying to figure it out. And along the way, there's all of this like town gossip. There's all this mommy drama. There's like a new, younger woman in town. There's so much scandal. And these twists just kept coming. It sucked me in. It reminds me of something like Big Little Lies or Happy and You Know It by Lauren Hankin, where you're just like, give me all the drama. I could get lost in it. And I never hear anyone recommend this one, so I'm here to recommend it for you. And with that, that's going to round out all of my top 12 underrated thriller and a couple horror book recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got a couple new recs from me. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I have so many more of these top 12 rec videos coming. And subscribe to hear me talk shit about the book that made me so mad that I had to film this video today. Thank you again for watching. Don't forget to go to therapy and read a book this week, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!